Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another gunpla video, and today I'm taking a look at the real grade Akatsuki Gundam Oowashi unit. Now I'm going to start this right off by saying that this apparently is the most disappointing real grade in recent history. You might be wondering why, and I'll get right to it. Well, there's three reasons for it really. First off is the price. It's 8,800 yen, which is quite expensive. That is around $57 to $60, or about the same in euro. And that is taking into consideration the ridiculous exchange rate right now where yen is very cheap. Reason the second is the fact that this is gold plated. Not a lot of people like gold plating. It does look a little bit hard to look at times. And just as a bit of an example, this picture's been doing the rounds on the internet, and this is what it would look like if it was removed of its gold coating, because that's exactly what it is. This one has had the gold coating removed, and you can see the detail looks phenomenal. That something else definitely could have been done here. And finally, the last reason, the third one is, and this one is the worst of them all, this actually uses the old early real grade frame. So this is going to have early real grade syndrome, and it's a new kit. That is such a step back. Apparently uses a lot of the Strike real grades frame, which is advanced joint 2 if I'm not mistaken, but we're about to crack it open and have a look and get this thing built. As usual, I got this through HobbyLink Japan, link is down there in the description, and let's get it opened. Alright, so here we've got the box, so might as well open it up and see what we've got inside. So straight away you're greeted with an absolute sea of plated parts. So as for bags, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, as well as an action base. And this is the action base 7, which has become my favorite stand of all, so I'm glad one is included. Another addendum in here. This is the third one in a while, and I've never seen these in Gundam kits before, so it seems like some shit's going on over at Bandai, considering the last real grade had a botched head, and this real grade has a botched everything, it seems. Well, everything's a bit of an overstatement. Let's check out the plastic. So what at first seemed like a giant real grade box that rivaled the likes of the real grade New Gundam and the real grade Sinanju is actually full of air. So it seems like we just have a lot of packing material in here to actually keep these from scratching off each other. So every gold runner is in a bag on its own, and that's why the bag is so big. There isn't really that much more plastic in here than your standard size smaller real grade. So again, just full of air. So checking out each of the runners, and the A runner in here is absolutely massive. So this is a reason alone this came in a big box. This is huge. We've got color separation into gray, a nice pearlescent blue section, some white segments down here, and we do have all the red sections on this as well. Pretty much anything that is not in the, well, gold. This continues on then with Runner A2. This has a lot of similar aspects to what we would have just seen on Runner A1. So even though this does share some of the advanced joint segment, there is a lot of what looks like frame parts here, but this could be some of the backpack. I guess we'll find out soon. Runner B right here being the offender. So this is an early real grade advanced joint, being advanced joint 3, the one that came from the Strike Gundam, the Ale Strike Gundam. This is from all the way back in 2011 when real grades weren't great, and this is a sad addition. Now I know you don't use the whole thing, but I know the hip joints have been causing some people some bother. Next up then in here we have Runner C, and this is definitely gold. This is the crazy Bandai gold. This isn't the nice kind of brush gold you'd see on the Hyakushiki, but then again, the Akatsuki is meant to be crazy gold, so I guess that's what they're going for. Some people love it, some people hate it, but one thing is for definite, it does blow out all the detail and sometimes makes it a little bit difficult to look at. And again, a fingerprint magnet. Runner D in here is duplicated, so we do have 2 of those. We're seeing some of the wings of the backpack, which I will mention is compatible with the real grade Strike Gundam, so you can use the real grade Strike Gundam's backpack on this particular kit. We have 2 Runner E's in here, so E1 and E2, just a duplication of those parts right there. So again, more armor parts, more gold. And speaking of gold, we do have one more color in here. Now this is a nice gold. I actually feel like if the kit was all done in this, it would be better off. It's almost, it doesn't have a fully glossy shine. You might notice with the other gold, there's a lot of contrast that ends up looking like black. This is very nice. Something like this and that Hyakushiki 2.0 Master Grade Gold might have worked out a little bit nicer to look at. Maybe not accurate, but nice. Runner F here is straight from the Strike Gundam, so the 2011 real grade Strike Gundam, and you know, this deserves to stay in 2011, not be here in 2024. Next up in here we've got two Runner Gs. This is the larger one. These are some black glossy parts, so even the black on this is glossy, so you're not going to be getting a little bit of a matte contrast in here. It's looking like what looks like some shoulder parts, but it's hard to tell. Maybe the neck segment, but yeah, glossy black. Now this runner right here makes me very, very sad. This is Runner H. It's a lot of gray parts that are new for this year, and the reason it makes me sad is because these are so much, well, nicer molded than what we would have seen on that Strike 2011 runner. We've got two widespread hands, always nice to see in here. But yeah, the detail that is molded into these parts looks so nice, crispy and beautiful. This is a taste of what we could have had if Bandai didn't take the lazy way out with this kit. As for the other additions, we got a full action base 7. This is beautiful, this is brilliant, I love these. We've got some standard beams for in here, so nothing special. So finally then we do have real grade stickers. These are usually kind of decal style. We have red, white and black, so a combination of these. They are stick-on real grade style, and we do have some of the silvered ones down here as well, and the foils for on the head cameras. Alright, so we're going to be starting in with the leg, and man, lighting this is very difficult. The kind of contrast between the super bright brights and the darks on the gold is very unique. I don't think it's really as true to reality on the camera as it could be. There's multiple shades. For example, this is a more orange shade, so is this compared to that. As you can see, catching a mold line right there, something you cannot do anything about without destroying the overall look. There's mold lines pretty much everywhere. And yeah, it's not off to the greatest start. I'm not going to bend this knee for... Wow, fuck it, I will. Why not? This is the bend at the knee. So we do have the separating armor up here. And this starts out nice and strong, but it's an early real grade leg. So this is going to turn to absolute jelly soon in the future. We do have some nice toe movement. The foot on this is absolutely brand new. And yeah, let's get one built. So first up, when it comes to building up the foot, this is all new parts, so nothing is used from the Strike. We've got two side aspects onto a joint for the toe bend. This then gets sandwiched between two red sections to make the red parts of the foot. The grey sections do come through the red, which is very nice from the underside. And then we've got a gold bit of armor to slap on top. Then we move around to the heel, two parts that attach into each other. Again, grey moves on through the red, so we can see the grey from underneath, some thrusters there. Then we build up the middle aspect of the foot that has two joints in it. Onto that then we attach on the toes we built, the heel we built. Finally, then we attach on the big old gold ankle armor segment. This right here is what we get. Again, the gold catches the light in the craziest possible way. Detail on the bottom's nice. This is on a ball joint, so it's simple enough. And overall, not too bad. It's all new, which is a good thing. That mold line is tragic. So this right here is when things start getting sad. So we do have to cut out the advanced joint 3 leg section right here. So this is what we get. This is the pre-built or pre-molded kind of aspect of a real grey that always just broke down, got loose over time and kind of pretty much fell apart. So what we do here is you bring down this joint up here. This twists off to the side and then locks up into that segment, and then it's ready for assembly. Onto that pre-molded inner frame, then you pop on 2 parts from the sides of the knee just like so, as well as an additional bit of inner frame to the upper leg. The next step right here, be careful, it doesn't say a 1 and 2 in the manual to say one has to be done before the other, but you do have to put this gold section in before the 2 black sections that go on either side, because I did the other way around because it didn't say in the instructions not to, and it would not attach on then. So again, missing parts in the manual. The upper leg then, it's a light gold armor at the front and orange gold at the back. We have a thruster section that moves on the calf armor. It just attaches in from the back like this. Then we've got a section for thruster armor around back. The 2 calf sections then attach onto that. We've got a side bit of armor, then 2 pieces for on the knee, and 2 pieces on the side thruster. And that brings me to right now, so I've got a bit of knee armor to pop on to finish this off. And then the foot just attaches down here, just like so. So the biggest issue a lot of people seem to be having with this kit is this ancient old little waist thing that eventually that peg and that joint just starts to weaken. But yeah, there we go, 2 legs complete and onto the waist. So when it comes to the waist unit, we're dipping on into that joint runner again. So this is the real grade style joint, It's got the molded bits. When you chop it out, this is the molded bit that you get, and this is what we're going to be slapping parts onto. We've got one of these glossy black sections attaching right onto the front. A large gold section then that slides right onto there. It actually clips in, holds on by pressure. Another bit of gold here in a contrast. Well, I wouldn't really use the word contrast per se because it doesn't pop too much, but it's in a more orangey color than the yellowy greeny gold right here. Next up, we're doing some layering around on the back. So a little bit of a rear armor attaches on. Then we've got a little clip section that opens up for the docking of weapons, and a little bit that slots in from underneath. Moving on to the side skirts, and these are made of 3 layers apiece. That is a grey section going in underneath the actual gold armor, and then a swiveling section that the beam sabers will attach into. Beware the orientation on these. They go in one way and one way only. Next up, we've got the rear skirtings. These are 2 layered, so a grey layer underneath and a gold layer on top. When it comes to the front skirtings, these do not have the nice grey layer underneath. It's just 2 layered pieces of gold. Finally then, you do have to attach the legs onto the waist before the skirting armor, at least according to the instructions. Then you pop in this section from above where everything attaches onto. This is your ball joint rig. Then you just pop on the butt skirts, the side skirts, and the front skirts, just like so. And that brings us to right now. So this right here is what we have. This is unique to say the least. As far as I know, this is the first full release, completely gold-plated real grade kit. It does feel loose there already. Wow. Yeah, I can see why they included a stand. It's not just them being nice or thinking you might want one, it's you need one. So as we move into the torso right now, this is where there's kind of like salt going right on into the wound, because this reuses absolutely nothing. So we've got this joint going into the torso segment right here, just like that. This is the core. This thruster or vent segment then attaches up on here like that. We've got a golden flap right here, which I assume is going to be playing the role of the cockpit. And then that all just closes up just like that right there. Now make sure to not make any sort of mistakes with this. It's very brittle gloss plastic. Probably won't take too kindly to being separated. So next up, we've got this little bit of a joint section right here, which is going to be the side to side pivot. I assume this attaches into the waist. So as you can see, the torso is coming together. But yeah, before you do that, you put a little bit of gold armor onto that. Pops on just like so. And only then do you jam this in. Neck joint is made out of a C-clip, and that attaches via a little bit of a hinge in to the torso, just like that. Again, this is building up extremely nice. It just really does serve to prove what a letdown it is that Bandai actually used the advanced joint in some of this kit. I assume it's used in the arms as well, but well, I've been shocked by Bandai doing more with less. Next up, we've got a matching set of shoulder joints for doing this. It's just they are mirrored, but they're exactly the same. There's 3 parts to both, so there is a lot of articulation at the shoulder. Next up, we've got the neck segment in that glossy black that attaches on down and gets locked into position by the rear armor, which does have the striker pack attachment, and this is just the real grade one as far as I know. We've got some chest armor gold from underneath. This is a little bit hard to get in there. A bit of splash of color on top with some red. This has an almost metallic kind of glitteriness to it. And coming into the home stretch then on the torso, we've got some side waist armor. The armor then clamps onto both sides around the arms. We've got some contrasting matte gold for around the chest vent sections, and then we've just got a cover segment for on the thruster around back. Alright, that was some definite real grade jank. So yeah, this bit is just actually floating there. So if you push upwards at all, it just kind of comes loose. So you need to hold on to the legs while attaching this in. And oh, that takes quite a bit. There we go. So far, so Next up then, we have the shoulder. So this is mainly made out of a black frame segment. You then throw on the little bit that the shoulder section will go up into. We've got a little bit of an articulated segment up top, just like that. And then the second half of the black segment just attaches on just like so. Next up, we've got some of those silver stickers that you just pop on like so. These are just the real grade style stickers. They're a real grade staple. And when they're popped on, they just kind of give that little bit of shine in certain areas that pop out just like that. Layering up of some more parts, we got some red at this thruster. A little bit of a weird maneuver right here where you kind of have to bring this over, then under like that. Feels real sketch because plated parts are brittle. Got a little bit of a cap section for this here moving aspect in the shoulder. And then it's just the front and the rear armor just like so. Actually, I do have one of these arms finished. I usually show them first and I totally forgot. So there is the shoulder like we just did. And next up then we'll be having the arm again. This is very hard to light because of just how much it shines up a storm. But anyway, inside this arm is more of that advanced joint, sadly. Now the leg has kind of somehow been lost to time to me. I didn't really remember it all that much. But these arms are giving me trauma. These are not awesome. Not awesome at all. So first off, you take that hand and you throw it away forever. And the same goes for this little joint section up top. Those are not used in this kit. Then it's time to turn this little segment, flip it up, and that then clips on to that little rail section just like so. We get pretty much the same sort of thing down here where this slots on in, and both of those aspects move like kind of pistons when you move the arm, which I'm going to do the least amount possible because, you know, loosens up. So next up we've got two parts that are straight from the Strike Gundam. They just go onto the front and the back of the joint, two little pieces of disappointment. Then up top for the bicep we've got a front and back aspect to the bicep armor. This kind of hangs loose towards the back. Then we've got a replacement for the ball joint attachment up top. This gets sandwiched between two pieces of armor and clipped together by a third little piece. Moving down to the wrist now, we've got a front section of armor in that orangey gold. Two side bits in the yellowy gold then pop on beside that. A cuff, a big rear section of armor that's in the orangey gold too. And then finally build a hand and slap it on like so. Getting the upper arm into the shoulder is simple. You just slot that circle through another circle and it holds on very, very nicely. So yeah, what we've got here is starting to resemble a Gundam somewhat. So just pop that arm on. Those shoulders do look nice. The proportions on this are great. Again, like I said, that image, that one right there, I feel like that's what Bandai took from us. There's so much nice detail on it. But anyway, there is that gold and it really does have some awesome high contrast. So, I don't know, I'm definitely not hating the gold. It's just kind of hard to see the detail. So now moving on to the head, and this honestly is pretty phenomenal. And it's another kind of insight into what Bandai stole from us. First off, the eyes in here are color separated. So that does mean I did want to keep them separated, not cover them up with stickers. But at the same time, I wanted them to be a little bit more metallic than the pearly plastic in here. So I did hit them with a metallic blue Gundam marker. When you fire them through, you get absolutely perfect eyes. Then the mouth section is tiny, tiny, tiny. The Gundam beard slots into the under eye red section, which attaches into the muzzle, and this doesn't necessarily all hold together until you do jam them into the rest of the head, which locks them together. So it is a little bit on the tough side. The back of the head pops on, then you can see into the color separated part. Again, I did paint this blue, but it is blue underneath. Front little section attaches around the front camera, then you attach on both sides of the head. The ear sections are made out of two pieces of plastic. I'm guessing one is in the orange yellow and the other one's in the yellow. The ears pop onto the side like so, and then the V-fin pops onto the front with some nice slotted recessing in the front, which allows the grey plastic underneath through. Overall, very nice. This right here then is what we have. Again, very ridiculous looking. See the eyes popping inside of that. The gold does work really well on this nice head. Everything just catches the light in the most crazy sort of way. Again, this is a very nice head. I wonder if I can get a bit of white in behind there. It might give you a little bit of a better idea of what it looks like. Turn down the brightness a little bit. It's such a hard color to film. It's almost like liquid. The shine is great. The contrast with the black, again, because the room I'm in is black. It just, yeah, that's pretty cool. And getting the head on is as simple as popping. Maybe simple isn't the word I'm looking for. Okay, another little bit of a design faux pas. So this right here is where the neck joint pops in. This is the back of the little Gundam beard down here. So the pressure will push the muzzle actually off if anything goes a little bit awry on you. Yeah, some strange oversights this year it seems, but hopefully that means they're doing something fun for next year. And all the A-team are working on that stuff. So now with the Gundam itself built, it's time to move on to the atmospheric aerial combat equipment Oowashi. So we got two big grey sections that attach together to be the core of this. We have a thruster made out of a red section, a grey internal section, and a red cuff end. We've got a bit of ye old balancing act here when you're attaching in this thruster section, because you have to hold it in place while attaching on one of these gold sections from the side, or it will just fall away. So it is a little bit difficult to do, and once you get two sides on, it's locked on in. A grey section moves through a big gold section, which clamps down then on top of the big grey section we just finished. Two gold sections then go in from underneath to armor the bottom of this, and we've got two red thruster cover sections for around back. Up at the nose end then we've got a grey internal section with two different shades of gold that sandwich either side of it. Inside of this we've got some nice detailing, which you do get to see after popping on the canopy, because this canopy section does open up and down. This attaches via a C-clip then onto the main body, and we've got two of that beautiful gold, again which I wish was all over the kit, for the intake sections at the front. Very nice detail. Then for the wings you have to do this 2 times over for the big one and the small one. The big one has a little bit of a joint section that attaches into it, a black front, a white end. Then my camera ran out of space, and so the camera filled up there, so I had to dump some files, so I did kind of skip ahead on the wings right here. These can teeter forward and back like so, but that's pretty much all that they can do. They pop in like so, they can rotate at that point. Same on the other side, like that. And then we built these little fins, so it's just one gold section, one black, one white. The black actually has some really annoying angles on the knobs. They're kind of on a little bit of a bevel, so they're a little bit annoying to clean up, but not the worst, but again, not the best. So there we go. That's the vast majority of that done. And then we've got the cannons to build. Alright, so continuing on with these cannon segments right here. Oh yeah, I should wash my hands before I start touching this after eating some Christmas pies. But either way, this attaches on like this. These are asymmetrical, there's 2 of these. The other one pops on like this, like that. So there's a little bit of a hole right there. We've got a white cap section for down one end like that. The shooty end attaches on there. You have the option of adding on one of those silver decals. Then the arm section has a little bit of a extra bit of a side from it for some reason. And then we've got this little bit of an articulated hinge with a ball on it. And that bit we just built attaches onto that like so. That then plugs on into the side of that big old cannon just like so. Like I mentioned, we do have 2 of these guys, and they pop onto the ball joints on the bottom of this like that. There's also a little bit of a slot to lock them in position. I'm assuming that's when it's in its flight mode, and that just pops and locks. And there we go. That's a really nice flight unit. This actually kind of carries the gold a little bit better than the actual Gundam itself. Now moving on to the rest of the equipment, and next up we've got the beam rifle. It's 2 parts that sandwich together, then we've a nice white section for the sight, a little side bit of detail, and the weird thing is, the barrel is straight off the strike runner, which is the F, so it's shiny plastic, not the matte plastic of the rest of the rifle. Also in here we do have beam sabers. These are quite cool. They've got a very dark grey handle and then a gold section for up top. These are a nice shape and a nice design. I've never seen anything like these. We've got 2. We've got a whole bunch of hands to build up in here. A grand total of 6. No, make that 7, and they make up out of, well, for the holding hands they make up out of 3 pieces each, the sandwichy parts and the back of the hand. Last up then is the shield. This is extremely nice. So one little weird bit at the end. So you got a white piece, very nice, glossy bladed, attaches underneath the gold piece, and then we have a grey section that comes in underneath, which has some nice trusses and little venting segments on it that let you see through to the gold, which looks great. And then we've on the other side a black glossy section that attaches into that, and a white glossy section that attaches then in further. It looks so good. Around back then you've got a handle down bottom, and the weird spanner in the works is that little bit that we pulled out of the waist earlier on. That is part of the strike again. That is used for the connection to the arm. This joint ain't great, as you'd expect from the pre-molded stuff, but that's, I guess, what it is. So there you go, that's everything inside the box once you are done. There is a Action Base 7 in here as well. I didn't film the build of that. I love these. These are fantastic. They take next to no time at all to build, and they're really strong and very versatile. Extremely good. Overall, it's a lot of equipment. The pack is amazing. The Gundam, I'm not sure yet. Of course, I can't really give an opinion on it just yet. But the main thing I noticed about it is the gold that, well, if you get in close, and again, I'm going to pop that picture up again, the detailing on the armor is phenomenal. But the gold blows it out entirely. They can't even see it. And then from a distance, if you look at this, it looks no different than the cheapest of cheap high grades. It does not look impressive at all from a distance. Up close, it definitely looks nice. Most definitely. Especially the head. and that nice gold around certain aspects. This could have been so cool, but still, no, visually, I still think it does look extremely nice. Odd choices made here, but I guess we will see. Anyway, as always, make sure to come back for the review. There's what it kind of looks like as a little bit of a idea to tide you over until then. If you do have any kind of questions you'd like to ask, throw them down there in the comments as usual. It's a unique, real grade, definitely. A lot of disappointing aspects about it, but we'll see if there's anything good or if there's anything bad or whatever when I take a look at it in the review tomorrow. And I'll see you next time. Once again, I kind of finished this video right here without special thanks to the channel members and the patrons over on Patreon, including Simon Paskin, Abraxas, Caleb Engelhart, Joe, RG59061, ShadowWolf179, Van Fawn, and Scotty Thomas.